Gomer. Phrygia, the land of the Brug tribes in Asia Minor. One of the most important sons of Japhet from Izrod, the book of Genesis in Bible, is Gomer, who has also 3 sons. This immediately tells us that the country of Gomer is the one of the most important countries. As for determining the location of the country of Gomer, historians agree that it is Phrygia. Herodotus says, the Phrygians say the Macedonians were called the Bruges. Bruges, as long as they lived in Europe, while they were together with Macedonians and when they moved to Asia with the change of a country, they changed their name to Frigg. The duality of this name, first Brugi, then Brigi, also was emphasized by Milan Budimir. In Izrod, Phrygia is called Gomer, and the explanation is found in the Assyrian records. Ragozin says that the Assyrian writings mention the people Gimerai, which are Chimeras in Jewish Gomer. The Assyrian emperor Esarhaddon notes that he repulsed the attack and defeated Tiuspa Gimerai, who died in battle, and his entire army was destroyed by the sword. Gumirai is an Assyrian name for wandering people who usually are mentioned as Chimeras and who are related to Medi. Ragozin here mentions the Aryan race. There is no doubt that the Jewish name for Phrygia, Gomer, originated from Assyrian Gumerai, and all the testators agree to that. Later research shows that Jews, when talking about Gomer and his sons, mean the Thracian Phrygian people from the area south of the Black Sea, to whom those Chimeras also belonged, and who came as conquerors, says Ragozin. The earliest mention of Phrygia dates back of the time of Serbon's campaign. In Eusebius we find the fact that Tantalus ruled Phrygia, ancient Meonia, around 1350 before Christ. After Tantalus, the rule of the dynasties of Mit and Gordian begin. Their reign will last for more than 6 centuries, and during that time Phrygia was a dominant state in Asia Minor, and in 9th century BC. It sovereignly ruled the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Herodotus says that Yermenia is Phrygian settlement. If this has already been the case with Yermenia, then there is no reason not to believe that Phrygians also had settlements in northern shores of the Black Sea, where the Chimeras appear. Eusebius says that Chimerans and Amazons invaded Asia Minor in 1076 before Christ. Herodotus says that the existence of Chimerans was on the Dniester River. The Chimerans have been around for a long time, present in Asia Minor or Phrygia at various times. There is no evidence that there were 2 different people in Phrygia. This means that the Chimerans and the Phrygians were the same people with 2 different names, or 2 completely related people. The area of the Dniester, where Herodotus places Chimerans, was inhabited by Serbs at the time of the Staistvo, if not earlier. The name of the Chimeran leader, defeated by Emperor Esarhaddon, Tiuspa or Teushpa, came from the name of the god Teut. Harlibat says that the Gomer, that it was the people whom the Assyrians called Gimirs and the Greeks Chimerans. Their name remained in the name of Crimea, where their oldest homeland was. Among them are Cimbri, with whom the Romans were at war, and the Cimri, ancestors of the Welsh and Irish. The Celtic race, to which the Frisians, the French, also belong, comes from that family. Some think that Chimerans moved to Europe from 2200 to 1500 BC. Wells says, "The ancient inhabitants of our islands, the British, were also descendants of Gomer. That is beyond a doubt. The Welsh are still called Cumero, Cymro, Cumeri, and they call their language Cumereag. The Danish peninsula of Yeland was known to ancient writers only under the name of Cimbrica Chersonsos. Roget de Belocate gives the following conclusion. Finding in the name of Cymru, Cymri, a symbol of Welsh, indisputable remnants of Celtic population of Britain, a name close to Cimbros, scientists found no difficulty in accepting that the Celts of Albion and Gaul Belgium, whose migration they were in fact one same people, are in description of Marius in his works. Plutarch says that the Cimmerians reached the shores of the Baltic and from there invaded Gaul. Child says, the Cimmerians are Aryans related to Thracians. According to Klakic, Cimbri and all forms of this name, which appear in Asia Minor and in eastern Helm Peninsula, are in fact Cimbri. Stephan of Byzantium says that Hermes' ritual name was Imbros. Budimir brought this into connection with the old Serbian Simbra, which means ally, friend. In modern Greek it is Sembros, and in Arabic Sember. In the above case with Klakic, Imbros equals Simbros. We have more evidence of the omission of initial letter Sima in a name of Serbian origin. There are many such examples. The Cimmerians were Thracians, or as Strabon says, Cimmerians who also called Treri. The Treri are Cimmerian people. Treri are Thraciani. In time of King Sitalk, neighbors of Tribalians who were on part between Danube and Homole were Treri. In Strabon's explanation, Jocelyn says that the Cimbrians lived in Chersonos Cimbrica, today Denmark. The Teutons are part of the Cimbra. Strabon says that the Greeks called Cimbra the Cimmerim. He then says that Cimmerian women followed their husbands in battle, and during the fight they got into mess attracted to they were hidden into things that were attached to the car and thus made a terrible noise. It is known that Serbian women followed their husbands in war. Josephus Flavius calls Galatas the Gomerites. Herodotus mentions the people of Cimmery, and Pliny mentions the city of Cimmer in Troy. For Ben Gorgon, the French are Gomers, the Franks, and from them, at least in name, the French, the Serbs called Frusi, which literally means Frisians. There was no other name for Franks in Serbian language. The people Frusi and the country Fruška are Serbian names for Franks, and the Franks as well as the French. The French and the France are German names that have been transferred to us. Serbs do not have French mountain, but Phrygian mountain. At the time of Nemanjići, there was no other name for the French than Frusi. This Serbian name for Franks completely coincides with the testimony of Ben Gurion. There was a belief among the Franks themselves, and they widely expressed it, that they originated from Trojans and gave one of their cities in Rodania, France, the name of Troy, which is still called that today. Their statements can be supported by the fact that some of the first known Frankish rulers had Serbian names. Joseph Mede says that Greeks called the Galatians Galate and Celte, and that the Greek Celts are the same as Cimbrians, who were called Cumra in Britain. The other says that Germans are from Chimera and the Jews call them Ashkenazi. The name Gomer is contained in name Cimbri and they call themselves Germen, which means Gomerani, from Gemren or German and Latin, the Latins made Germania. N is Germanic ending for a plural and is easy to make Gomer Gemren like brother brethren. Edward Wells expands on his predecessor Mede and says, as for the testimonies of ancient writers such as Diodorus from Sicila, as Mede observes, they confirm that Germans are descended from chimeras, and the Jews to this day, as the same scholar notes, call them Ashkenazi, as descendants of this Homeric branch. Wells adds Appian's testimony for the Celts or Gauls were called differently as Cimbri. Cicero says that Marius defeated the Gallic force that had fallen to Italy. Their king name was Beleus. Beleus Cimbros wrote on his shield found in Axen province where Marius beat them. Beleus Cimbros was engraved on a shield in a strange letter. Plutarch says that the Cimbrians were also called the Galloscitians. This strange letter from Wells on a white shield was an old Serbica. Numerous records have been found on this strange letter in Old Rodania. Even the name of that king Cimbra is Serbian. Belo.